Hey everybody, welcome back to the Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. It's me, Jack, the other host, and once again we're going to be doing another low carb recipe. This one is not necessarily keto, but there's some minor alterations you can do to make it fully keto if you want. We're going to be doing low carb bell pepper tacos. The premise here is to cut out the tortilla and replace it with a bell pepper. So you get a whole bell pepper, slice it in half, and use each half as pretty much your taco shell or tortilla shell or whatever. So anyway, let's get into it. Here's the goods. We have some ground chuck, a little bit over a pound. We have our bell peppers. I have several more off camera. We have some tomato. This is one big Roma tomato. This is 2 jalapenos, 1 chopped, 1 sliced. This is about 2 slices of onion and some cilantro and some garlic. This is optional. Now, if you go with all this and cut out the garlic, it comes out to about $11.67. Of course, you know, seasonings and oil and whatnot are going to cost extra if you don't already have those. Okay, so go ahead and get your pan going. I'm not going to wait for it to get warm. I'm just going to go ahead and directly add the ground chuck, and I'm going to break it up. After shredding it, we're going to cook it until it turns brown, or at least not pink like it is right now, and then we're going to strain off the grease. Okay, so the pan's finally getting a little warm and it's starting to cook. And see how it's starting to brown? It's just a little bit. Be patient with it. It is going to take a little bit. Be sure to occasionally stir it. You don't want to cook on one side forever. You know, yada yada yada. You probably heard it a million times. But just pay attention to it. Hey, I figured I might as well share something I recently learned, particularly when it comes to ground beef. You want to wait till after you strained it off to season it. If you use a seasoning that has lots of salt, it'll pull the moisture out of the meat. And after you strain it off and re-add your hamburger back to the pan, you're going to end up with dry hamburger. So you want to wait till after you strain the meat, apparently, to add your seasonings. Specifically applies if it has salt in it, of course. Of course, there may be other seasonings that also affect it in the same way. So yeah, just felt like sharing that little snippet of information. But at this point, the meat is mostly brown. There's a couple tiny specks of pink still in there, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat, and I'm going to go ahead and strain off this excess grease. Now, I'm using 80% hamburger, so there's a bit. Now, if you use like 90, 95, 93, whatever percent, the high-end stuff, you might not have to strain. You can leave that decision up to you. But if you're using cheaper beef, 80% or lower, you should probably strain it off. Okay, so I strained off the grease. Here's the grease in the bowl. Not a whole lot, but it's more than I wanted in the pan. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove the ground beef from the pan, and we're going to add in some of our veggies. Okay, so this next part is a little bit optional. You don't have to do it this way. If you have a lot of people in your household that like to build their tacos a very specific way or don't want something in it, skip this. But if you're like me and you like to cook a couple things into the beef, now's how we're going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the onion. Not a whole lot, just some of it. And I'm going to add some of our chopped jalapeno. And I'm also going to add a little bit of garlic to the pan. And we're going to let it saute for a little while before we add the ground beef back to it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this part you can skip this if you have people that don't like these things or just want to build their tacos a specific way. Now, this will take about 2 to 3 minutes. Depending on how well done you like your veggies or your fruit, because technically peppers are fruit. Go get in a fight with somebody about that. And after this is brown the way I want it specifically, I'm going to re-add the ground beef, and we're going to cook it until everything's done. And I'm going to add some seasonings then as well. Okay, it's been about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce the ground beef back to the pan. Use my cheap paper plate. Mix it thoroughly. And then we're going to hit it with some seasonings. So I got some Southwest style fajita from Fiesta. I'm going to throw some of that in there. Now some chili powder. We're going to add a plethora of chili powder. And I got some paprika. We're going to add some paprika. And then mix it well. And if you want, you can add a little bit of like the extra thick tomato sauce or more seasonings, your favorite seasonings, whatever you want. This won't take much longer to cook. It's basically done at this point. We're just adding some flavor to it. Now you don't want to cook it for too long because you will dry out the hamburger. That's something you want to avoid. I'm going to go ahead and add some more chili powder. Another good flavor, or another good seasoning to add here would be cumin. I didn't get the cumin out, but that's alright. And there you have it. At this point, it's essentially finished. Alright, so let's go ahead and build one of our pseudo tacos. Now, one of the whole purpose of this is to cut out tortillas, or just have a healthier alternative without necessarily resorting to lettuce wraps, which is also a perfectly fine option as well. Just if you want to do lettuce wraps, do all of this except substitute the bell pepper for like romaine lettuce chunks. Really good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and add some onion. I'm going to add some of the chopped peppers and a little bit of tomato. Make sure stuff it in there as best you can. Now, if you can get the bigger bell peppers, go for it. Of course, I went for the cheaper end. And just a little bit of cilantro. Okay, maybe a whole lot. And there you have it. Now, just do that 8 more times. Because I bought 4 bell peppers for this, and that'll make 8 of these. Also, of course, if you want some cheese, just go ahead and throw some cheese on it as well. And so yeah, there you have it. Nice and easy, not too time consuming. Spice can be adjusted to your personal preference. And it doesn't take long. It took longer to chop up all the fruit and veggies. Jalapenos are fruits. So yeah, it took longer to chop everything up than it did to actually make it. Now, thanks for watching. You can catch us here normally on Tuesdays and Fridays. Sometimes an upload may have been forgotten a little bit. But anyway, thanks, and hope to see you next time.